Hi, Michelle Bricino, registered dietitian with the Healthy Lifestyle Center. Today our topic is going to be carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are your body's main source of fuel. Carbohydrates are one of 3 macronutrients found in all the foods that we eat. And it's the one that we should be having the most of. But in South Louisiana, we tend to have a little more than what we should. So carbohydrates are very important, the timing is very important, and the types of carbohydrates that we eat are very important. We need them for fuel reasons, and some fuel is better than others, and the timing of some of those things are going to be different. So we have 2 different types of carbohydrates. One is known as simple carbohydrates, and those are going to be things such as juices, honey, jam, jelly, syrup, honey, sugars. 2 natural sources of simple sugars are going to be fruits and dairy. The rest are considered added sugars. The other type of carbohydrate is going to be complex carbohydrates, and those are going to be things that have more fibers and starches, which are things that take a lot longer for your body to break down. So the amount of energy that you digest is slower over time, which means that you get more sustained energy. Those are going to be things like whole grains like oatmeal, grits, brown rice, whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, beans, your vegetables. Those are all things that we want more of when it comes to those carbohydrates because it gives us sustained energy. Now, both of them are important and we need them in different timing, and so depending on what you're doing is going to be how we look at this. Now look at these plates. This is a good visual representation of the amount of carbohydrates that you should be consuming with each of your meals. So this first plate is if you were looking to lose a little bit of weight, or you're doing very easy training, gently walking, things like that, not a lot of activity. We want half of our plate to be fruits and vegetables, a quarter of it to be a carbohydrate source, like all those things we just talked about, and then the last quarter is going to be your protein. This middle plate is for the people who are looking to maintain their weight, or they're doing a lot of physical activity even though they are trying to lose some weight. We want to make sure that you're eating enough foods in order to fuel your body. So it's going to be more like a peace sign. So your vegetables are going to be a little smaller, and then your protein and carbohydrates are going to be a little bit bigger. The last plate to the right is going to be your intense training. So if you had a very intensely physical day, we want half of that plate to be carbohydrates, a quarter protein, a quarter vegetables. And that's because we need to replenish some of those stores that you lost. So how is the carbohydrates digested in your body? So what happens is from the moment they hit your tongue, they start breaking down. By the time they hit your stomach, they start digesting into your bloodstream, known as blood sugar. So those carbohydrates turn to sugar, which then is converted into energy. So it hits your bloodstream and then it's absorbed for energy purposes. Anything remaining is absorbed into your muscle for energy purposes and into your liver for storage. Anything past that amount is actually stored as body fat. So that's where extra body fat comes from. So carbs are not your enemy. It's just the amount of carbohydrates you may be eating may be more than what you need. Now, timing wise, anytime you're doing something physically active where you're going to be burning a lot of calories, we need to add a carbohydrate source to be able to give you enough energy to do that activity. So the rule is 30 minutes before any kind of activity. If you're able to plan that, we want more of a simple carbohydrate. So some fruits, dairy if it's tolerable for you. Some people can't tolerate it and be physically active and hot and things like that. Anything that has a natural sugar to it. Some people don't want to eat a lot of food before they're active, so a little glucose tab or a small amount of juice or an applesauce, something like that. That's very simple sugar. It's very quickly digested and you're using it for energy for your activity. Anything that's more of a complex carb is going to take anywhere from 2 hours on to digest, and we don't have enough time to digest those foods to give you that immediate energy. So timing of those simple carbs are going to be something that we want to look at. 30 minutes after that workout, that's where protein is a priority, but we do want to add some more carbohydrates because you did deplete your stores and we want to add some more. And that's where that hard training plate comes in. If you've had a very, very intense day and you did a lot of physical activity, you lost a lot of those important carbohydrates for energy, and we want to protect your muscle and everything else. So we want to make sure that you're eating enough of those carbs that's going to sustain you for the long run. The plate method is one of the easiest ways that we can track what we're doing. You can do any kind of apps and measuring and things like that, but as a general rule of thumb, this is one of the easiest ways to make sure that you're balancing your plate.